Do you have a hydration strategy in place as a footballer? I highly doubt that. But don't worry, in today's video we are gonna go over a series of principles, tools, and strategies you can use to find that sweet spot of hydration that every footballer needs in his or her game. Start things off, let's talk about how much water you really need as a footballer and why consuming way too much water is something that can even put you in danger. So, as a rule of thumb, football players should generally drink somewhere between 40 to 60 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight. Having said that, the actual number depends on a variety of factors such as the weather, the training load, the gender of the individual, the sweat rate, the nutritional habits of the individual, etc., etc. Therefore, some players might even need around 70 to 80 milliliters of water in certain events and season times, like the summer off-season or preseason. So how do you know if you're hydrated properly? Generally speaking, if you stay within those numbers, you should achieve a decent level of hydration. Having said that, you can also use your urine color to determine whether you're well hydrated or not. The darker the color of your urine, the higher the chances of dehydration. On the other side, the closer it is to that pale yellow color, the better hydrated you are. Sustaining a light yellow urine color for 24 hours isn't something that is really achievable though, because it is quite usual for urine to be a bit darker by the time we visit the bathroom in the morning and after the end of a training session. It is suggested, however, to at least aim for that pale color before you start any activity, because this can really help you avoid or at least delay dehydration and aid neuromuscular performance. What happens if you drink too much water though? Over the last decade, the death of some American football student athletes has sparked some awareness around the subject of hyponatremia, a condition caused by excess water consumption. Although this might not be the case for most of you, you still need to be aware of this. Hyponatremia is a condition that occurs when your blood has an abnormally low content of sodium. Your kidney fails to excrete that excess water, which then enters your bloodstream and dilutes its sodium concentration. This can cause swelling to your blood cells, something that can lead to minor health issues, but can also be fatal. For the vast majority of the players watching this, hyponatremia isn't something you should worry about. However, if you decide to really take your hydration seriously, be aware of both ends of the spectrum. It is better to be safe than sorry. Now that we've got this out of the way, let's talk about how you can lay out a proper hydration strategy for yourself. Let's start off with the basics. A 90-minute football game or training session is an intense form of exercise that places really high demands on your physiology. During this high volume, high intensity activity, your body loses lots and lots of fluids, making it usual for a player to lose about 1 kilogram after a 90-minute game. The vast majority of that weight loss comes from fluids. This is something you cannot avoid. The first thing you can do is to actually go into your match or training session being well hydrated. Aim for that light yellow color in your urine and try to sustain that as you're approaching your activity. If you're playing early in the morning though, this gets a bit trickier. In this case, you should slightly increase your water intake the day prior to the game or training session and consume as much water as possible in the morning without causing any bloating or stomach discomfort. Make sure you're tapering off water consumption the closer you get to kickoff in order to avoid undesired stomach cramps, bloating, and this heavy feeling. Apart from performance though, I also want you to pay attention to recovery. A rehydration strategy that is definitely worth a try is weighing yourself before and after a game and drinking 0.8 to 1 liter of water for every kilogram you lose. The next thing I would like to touch upon has to do with sports drinks and supplements. As we've already said, football is intense and therefore causes fluid loss through sweat. Along with those fluids though, you also lose minerals and your glycogen stores slowly get depleted. So instead of just drinking enough water, you must also make the proper dietary choices before, during, and after the game in order to delay that depletion of minerals and glycogen. The first step to that is preparation. Make sure you're loaded on carbs, follow a diet that is rich in minerals, and that you're well hydrated based on the criteria we mentioned earlier. Then you might as well consider other hydration and supplementation tools and methods, with the most popular ones currently being sports drinks and electrolyte supplements. Sports drinks and electrolytes are hydration tools you can include any time of the day, before, during, and after a game or training session. Sports drinks and electrolyte supplements provide your body with a decent amount of water, but at the same time you also get those simple carbs and minerals such as sodium, potassium, and magnesium that are essential for water retention and absorption. Minerals are just great for the function of your neuromuscular system and can help you avoid muscle cramps and dehydration during the last stages of a game. I know this might be a bit too much information for you to process right now, so here's a small little checklist you can use to make sure you're hydrated properly. I'm also using this with a lot of our athletes, and I can say that it really helps them stay on track. So this was it for today, guys. I hope that you found the info helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.